It's Christmas in Bethlehem. 2,000 years ago, a baby was born here who would change the course of history. But what really happened on that very first Christmas? And what was life like for Mary and Joseph and the other characters who star on many of our Christmas cards? This week, for a special edition of Songs of Praise, I've come to the Holy Land to find out. So come with me to discover the reality behind the story of Christmas. Join with the congregation here in Jerusalem for a selection box of wonderful carols. And I hope you enjoy one of my favourite Christmas songs that reminds us of the reason for the season. For all the flashing lights and inflatable Santas, Christmas in Bethlehem is still a magical experience. All the main Christian denominations celebrate the season with services and special events. The focus is Manger Square, in front of the Church of the Nativity, which, tradition has it, is built over the place where Jesus was born. Just outside Bethlehem is another popular place for pilgrims. The Shepherd's Fields is where it's believed the angels first proclaimed Jesus' birth. So to be here at this time of year is extraordinary.
I keep thinking that everyone in England is sitting in churches and I'm actually here. It's very special. And it's dusk and it's perfect.
Today I've been in the Church of the Nativity and where Jesus was born. Just to be here where the shepherds were, it just was very moving.
This is the land of Christmas, not because of its archaeology, but because of the church that is still thriving and living by only the grace of God.
And we're holding our celebrations in the first Protestant church to be built in the Middle East. Christ Church is in the Christian quarter of Jerusalem's Old City, and people from different faiths have come together especially to sing their Christmas songs of praise. In this intimate place of worship, we're going to be singing some of the loveliest carols known to man. But we begin with children in mind. This carol was written by Irish lady Cecile Alexander in order to help children understand the story of Christmas. And if they can get their heads around it, then surely we adults can too. It's the gorgeous Once in Royal David City. As you sing the carols and listen to the story once again, do you ever wonder what it was like all those years ago for Mary and Joseph, the shepherds, and those mysterious wise men? Though Elizabeth may be one of the less well-known people associated with the birth of Jesus, she was a close relative of Mary and lived near Jerusalem.
There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias of the division of Abijah. His wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth.
We know that she was barren. She was childless. She was, quite old and too old to conceive.
Having lived with the shame of being childless into old age, Elizabeth discovers she's expecting a baby. News that reached Mary many miles away in Nazareth.
Now Mary arose in those days and went into the hill country with haste to a city of Judah, and entered the house of Zacharias and greeted Elizabeth.
Mary and Elizabeth had some sort of affinity, and there's some closeness between each other. They stayed together for some time.
Elizabeth used her own experience of public disgrace to help Mary prepare for being treated as an outcast back home because she was unmarried and pregnant.
Mary needed the support because she would have had to face the gossips. Even today, nowadays, in places, in rural areas where young women have babies outside the marriage. We've got cases of honor killing in certain areas and so on. It's a taboo even to talk about it. So you can imagine how this was handled 2,000 years ago. So for Mary to have this counselor during those first few months of her pregnancy was very important.
Elizabeth's own destiny was to give birth to John the Baptist, whose life was dedicated to prepare the way for Jesus himself.